Hello there, my name is Kuma, and today I'm giving you my first impressions on Brigid. She's a new welfare and a new loop shooter. I'm a big fan of this class, so it's nice to get a third operator in it. I'm sure I'll be raising her regardless of her kit. But really, that was the second thing I thought about when I saw Brigid. The first one was how much she looks like she came straight out of Dog Days, an anime from 2011. I'm not sure why, but her style just reminds me of it. And no, it's not just because she's a dog. Either way, she's cute. Let's check her kit. In her talent, Brigid gains physical dodge after hitting enemies enough times. I was trying to remember if we had talents like this before in the game, but I can't remember any. I can only remember talents where the operator has to kill some enemies to activate the talent, like Sideroka or La Pluma for example. We do have Noir Corn Outer, who gets a stacking attack based on attacks and not on kills, but it's not a permanent buff, it goes away after a few seconds. But this is not the case for Brigid, it is a permanent buff for her. She will get permanent dodge. Well, help me out, if you remember someone else who has a talent like Brigid, tell me in the comments. But it's kinda funny to think that Hypergrip has pushed dodge on 2 of the 3 loop shooters, and it kinda works, considering that they have the same base HP as spread shooters, a class we all know for how healthy they are. This might come in handy in IS, who knows. Now for her first skill. Brigid has a Power Strike, and it bounces between enemies. Seems to be the same as Naranto's skill 1, but as a Power Strike instead of a stance. I like this. On top of working well with the buffs we know and love, this will help with AoE at the same time, something that is not all that common with Power Strikes. They are usually single target. Of course I know of other examples, like Leonhardt's skill 2 on arts or Meteorite on the physical side, but AoE is not the norm. Obviously, Brigid won't have true AoE, her boomerang will have a target limit, and it will come back after hitting however many enemies Hypergriff decides is a good number for her, which I think will be 5. You can correct me, but I think Naranto's skill 1 bounces between 5 enemies, and I can only imagine that they would keep the same number as her. This skill might also feel a bit awkward thanks to the loop shooter trait. I know some players really want loop shooters to stop having a downside and get some skills or modules that increase the travel time of the boomerang. I find that funny, not gonna lie. But Brigid might have to wait a couple seconds depending on how the projectile bounces before being able to attack again. That will happen eventually, but not a big deal to be fair, just not great for ASPD buffs. Let's move on to her skill 2 now. This skill is what I can only describe as Shirayuki's skill 2, but as a single target skill. Brigid gains attack and her boomerang gets stuck to her target. While the boomerang is stuck, they suffer from slow and take hits every second for a couple seconds, just like Shirayuki. Of course, there are big differences. Brigid can only attack again after the boomerang comes back, that did not change. Enemies around the target will not suffer the damage of the projectile, nor slow this single target, and the SPD won't do anything to help her, unless somehow SPD increases the frequency of the hits while the boomerang is stuck to the enemy. I did not think of that, I guess we'll have to wait and see, but to be fair I doubt that would be the case. I honestly don't mind the concept of this skill, we all want Shirayuki to become a real loop shooter instead of an AoE sniper, but this was not the day. But I can tell you this skill will still be nice for dealing with single target threats, as you would imagine, just because a single target skill with some kind of ground control effect, just like slow, is nice for taking away the necessity of a blocker. You stack enough CC with slow, stun, bind, and suddenly, nothing gets to your blue box. It's like you're playing a tower defense after all. Considering how big the attack and damage numbers on the class are, I imagine Brigid will be a nice help against bosses with her S2. Also, because her range will be super helpful with that regardless. And for the same reasons, I imagine she will be nice for dealing with elite lanes. I don't think she will have trouble with defenders. Of course we have to wait and see the numbers, but I imagine she won't have any issues. Overall, cool European dog. Tell me what you think about Brigid in the comments and like the video if you enjoyed our talk. I hope everyone has a very nice day. Peace out.